Hey, what is going on, everybody? I hope you're all having a great day, but I'm just going to get right into it. So, better to get it right than to be first with CBDC, says US Fed Chair. This is from Jerome Powell, and he said, today, the US already has a safe and dynamic domestic payment system. The United States will not be issuing a digital dollar until the Federal Reserve resolves all questions around a potential CBDC, according to the Fed's chairman, Jerome Powell. Powell claimed that he is not worried about other countries having a first mover advantage when it comes to issuing CBDCs. And that's something that we've talked about here, guys, right? We know China is pushing their digital currency. So we thought that, hey, that would probably push the US to, further or at least faster deploy our digital currency, right? A possible US digital dollar. But it looks like we might be getting the opposite here. So Powell said, we have not made a decision to issue a CBDC, and we think there's a great deal of work yet to be done. In fact, I actually do think that CBDC is one of those issues where it's more important for the United States to get it right than it is to be first. He elaborated that getting it right means the US is not only looking at the potential benefits of a CBDC, but also the potential risks, particularly given the fact that the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. The official noted that countries around the globe will have their own motivations for issuing a CBDC. He contended that the main focus for the US would be determining whether and how a CBDC could improve an already safe and active dynamic domestic payment system. He also said, unlike some jurisdictions, here in the United States, we continue to see strong demand for cash. Moreover, we have robust and mature financial and banking sectors, and we have a highly banked population. So that many, although not all, already have access to that electronic payment system. In addition to assessing the benefits, there are also some quite difficult policy and operational questions. Just to mention a few, I would mention the need to protect a CBDC from cyber attacks and fraud, the question of how a CBDC would affect the monetary policy and financial stability, and also how could CBDC prevent illicit activity while also preserving user privacy and security. Guys, I have not seen Jerome Powell or really any of these guys get this serious about CBDCs and digital currencies. We've seen them get more and more serious over time, but it looks like they are straight out really researching this, not implementing, right? They want to get it right. And who knows if they're telling the truth on that or not, right? I know there's a lot of people out there that think that all this stuff is already in place. It might very well may be true. But for what the public gets to see, right? What they will allow the public to see, what they are showing us is that they are taking this stuff a lot more serious. They're really starting to look into it. Here, let's watch exactly what Jerome Powell said now. Make sure if you guys are enjoying the video, drop it a like, and I will play you guys the clip of Jerome Powell actually speaking at this. So here we go.
We have an obligation to stay on the forefront of policy and technological innovation and developments as regards payments, cross-border payments, CBDC, all of those things, rather than that I felt anything needed to happen quickly or imminently. In fact, I actually do think this is one of those issues where it's more important for the United States to get it right than it is to be first. Given the dollar's important role globally, it's essential that we remain on the frontier of research and policy development. The dollar is the world's principal reserve currency, and there continues to be large global demand for Federal Reserve notes. There's about $2 trillion worth of Federal Reserve notes in circulation, and we estimate that somewhere close to half of that value in notes is held outside of the United States. Use of and trust in the dollar comes from the reliable rule of law, strong and transparent institutions, deep financial markets, and an open capital account. A healthy and efficient payment system demands these features, which reach far beyond the merely technological. So we do think it's more important to get it right than to be the first. And getting it right means that we not only look at the potential benefits of a CBDC, but also the potential risks and also recognize the important trade-offs that have to be thought through carefully. We have a responsibility both to the U.S. and to the world that any steps taken for a U.S. digital currency be taken safely. We're absolutely committed to the soundness of the dollar and to safe and efficient U.S. dollar payment systems. So in addition to assessing the benefits, and there may well be benefits, there are also some quite difficult policy and operational questions that need to be thoroughly evaluated. And just to mention a few, I would mention the need to protect a CBDC from cyber attacks, counterfeiting, and fraud, the question of how a CBDC would affect monetary policy and financial stability, and also how could a CBDC prevent illicit activity while also preserving user privacy and security. Assuming that those things can be resolved, yes, there are potential benefits, but that's going to take a lot of work and thought, we believe. So they're not simple questions, and the answers are going to need to be comprehensively understood. So I'll stop there. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Jay. So very important to indeed keep this balance between aspiring to capture the benefits for people, for the economy, but also be sure that we do it right.
So pretty interesting, guys. Do you think that do you think that Jerome Powell is not letting on as far as they are with CBDCs, or do you think they're being transparent and they really are looking to get it right rather than looking to be there first? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Another interesting thing about that is, as we know, that was an IMF conference, right? So the IMF held it, and the Stellar Lumen CEO attended it along with MasterCard and the US Federal Reserve. So Donnell Dixon, CEO of Stellar Lumens, participated in the IMF event with representatives from the US Fed and MasterCard. So what was Stellar Lumens doing there? Pretty interesting stuff, pretty exciting stuff. Stellar has been getting quite a bit of, I guess you could say, eyeballs, speculators. It just seems like more people coming into the XLM / Stellar Lumen community or space, and it's cool to see, because XLM for a long time has been a coin that just flies under the radar. A lot of people think that, you know, XLM is trash and the one you really want to hold is XRP. That's starting to change now. People are starting to see the value of XLM, and we can see XLM is a project that seems to be making very good progress. It's a very good blockchain. They've partnered up with Tether, which was very cool to see. And yeah, I'm excited to continue documenting some XLM news for you guys as we get it. If you guys are enjoying the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop the video a like to help grow the digital investor community. I always appreciate any support that you guys choose to give. Some coin prices for today. Before we jump into this, we're going to jump into macro expert issues apocalyptic forecast and warns historic economic collapse likely, along with some Ripple news as well. But our coin prices for today, we have Bitcoin pumped up while the rest of the altcoins are bleeding. So Bitcoin right now is at 11,900. Ethereum at 368, XRP at 24 cents, Bcash at 240. We have a Chainlink at $10.02, a 10-cent Cardano. DOT is at 390, EOS at 251, Stellar is at 8 cents. We have a $2.06 Tezos. Wrapped Bitcoin. Have you guys seen this? Wrapped Bitcoin 11,978. I guess it's the same price. Is that, yeah, basically almost the same price as Bitcoin. If you guys want a video on Wrap the Bitcoin and what it is, let me know, and I will do one maybe in the upcoming days, maybe tomorrow if I have the time. And yeah, that's basically the coin price for today. We have VeChain at basically a cent, right? It looks like it got dropped out from 1.1 cents. So VeChain is quite low. And if you guys looking to accumulate VeChain, I remember a lot of people wanted to when it was up near almost 2 cents. VeChain coming down to almost a cent. That's a not financial advice, but that looks pretty cheap to me. All these alts look cheap, to be honest. You know, to those of you who are kind of scared right now, you know, oh my God, this dump, what is going on? Just remember a couple months back when you were praying for cheaper alts, and we were all kind of praying we wish we bought more. Everything is dumping. So take a look at the charts, and if you've been looking to accumulate, you know, maybe find some good areas of value, some good buying areas for you. Our fear and greed index for today, Bitcoin fear and greed index is sitting at 56. So we are in greed, but I'm sure once this, well, it's mainly an altcoin dump, right? It's just the altcoins dumping, but Bitcoin is rising. So we'll see what happens to the fear and greed index. I'm interested to see what happens with this. I'm also interested to see what happens with the rest of the day, right? How are these prices going to look by the daily close? Now, let's go over the historic economic collapse that is likely. David Hunter, the chief macro strategist at Contrarian Macro Advisors, is issuing a forecast about a historic economic collapse unlike the world has seen in 75 years. In an interview, Hunter says a parabolic rise in equities will set the stage for a huge market crash. He says, I think we're going to see something that includes a very large financial crisis, probably the largest financial crisis in history, including major bank failures, not so much here, but Europe, maybe Asia banks, and also a lot of involuntary debt liquidation. Though he thinks a crash is imminent, he believes that the steepest part of the current upward rally is still ahead of us and will occur between now and around the time of the US election. He quotes, "It's been a hell of a ride from March. I'm still looking for and actually been using since March a 4,200 to 4,500 number for the S&P. I think the NASDAQ could get to 15,000. We've been through a bit of a rocky period here in September and frankly, kind of up and down through the summer and into September. I think we're poised for the next leg up, which I think will be the final move into a secular top." He highlights that the ugly crash will likely follow the parabolic ascent primarily due to the inability of businesses to fully recover from the impacts of the global pandemic. And that's some stuff that we're already seeing, guys, right? A lot of these businesses that went under, they're out of business for good now. I even know a lot of amazing restaurants near me that I used to love to eat at. They just opened up like a year or two ago and they just couldn't make it, right? As we know, small businesses, they're not turning profits on, in the first year. I think your average small business doesn't even turn a profit till their 5th year. By that time, they're usually out of business. So for these companies that are, or at least let's say just restaurants, for example, restaurants that were less than 5 years old, I mean, they got destroyed. I don't know many of them around my area that are still in business. The only ones that are really lasting now around me are like chain fast food restaurants and restaurants that have just been in the area for 30 plus years, right? Just everybody knows them, and that's just kind of where they're going. All these new places, they got screwed. So anyways, Hunter also adds that big policy missteps by the Federal Reserve could catalyze the meltdown. So he says you get the first wave through and then the government steps in and gives you some ability to get through a period of time. But if you can't get the economy back up on its feet and restaurants open and all that at normal levels, they only have staying power for so long. And then you get that second wave where it's the insolvency phase of the crisis and where you do get many, many companies that hung on for this year not being able to hang on longer, right? So that basically going to say, all those restaurants that did close up, we also have more restaurants that are just barely hanging on now, right? They're in business. Maybe you're eating there now, but they're probably not going to be able to hang on until next year, it's sad. It's a sad situation to be in, guys, because, these are small businesses and they need our support bad. Hunter also adds that big policy missteps by the Federal Reserve could catalyze the meltdown. He says, so the second phase of the bus, you've got still an awful lot of fragility in the system, big chunks of the economy that are nowhere near getting the benefit of the recovery, and all those things start coming back at you. If the Fed pauses, I think this could unwind very fast. And let's remember, this is a global bust, so it may not even be the US that's the main problem next year. It may be Europe, it may be some mistake in Asia. There's so many problems out there because of what the virus has done across the globe. So yeah, guys, like I've been saying, in uncertainty in the market, and this is an uncertainty that people aren't actively thinking about, right? I think smart investors are. I think people who are really looking at the macro and looking to really set themselves up, if you realize that we're living in a time period where massive wealth can be made and massive wealth can be lost. There are people out there and they are setting themselves up accordingly, whether you are or not, whether other people are or not. The rest of the world is moving, it's turning, and really we'll just have to see what happens. The other thing is, if we do have an economic collapse, how is that going to affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? How is it going to affect them? Okay, it's something we have to take into account, because if we have a big collapse like this, right? Let's say even the stock market collapses, or the housing market collapses, or global trade doesn't recover and it causes, other types of things to just start going under. What happens to the price of Bitcoin? Do we go up? Do we go down? Do people move their money into it, or do people move their money out of it? There's a lot of different scenarios that could happen. What happens to these altcoins, right? We have Bitcoin, but what happens to Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash? Will some of these alts get annihilated if we go into an economic downturn return, or will it have the opposite effect, right? The effect that many people believe will happen, which is that Bitcoin is meant to thrive during times of economic uncertainty. And the truth is that we basically don't know. We have seen Bitcoin perform very well in other places that do have economic uncertainty or that have had crisis. If you take a look at Venezuela, I think also Iran, if you take a look at those countries, Bitcoin, I'm not sure if it is now, but when they were going through their crises, especially Venezuela, Bitcoin was performing very well. Silver is also performing very, very well in Venezuela. So we know silver, we know gold will do extremely well in an economic crisis. If you're holding gold or silver and we go into an economic crisis, that's a pretty sure bet that you're going to have buying power, right? You're not going to just lose all your wealth. But what is going to happen to these cryptocurrencies? And that's the thing that we don't know. We've seen what happens in Venezuela, but what's going to happen in the United States and other countries where this could happen? Will Bitcoin perform well? That's something that has to be thought, and that's something that we don't know until it happens. We know that Bitcoin was made and born out of '08. It was born out of a financial crisis to help the next one, to allow people to peer-to-peer transact without the permission from a government or relying on a bank to send it through. So we'll see what happens, guys. I'm optimistic, but it's always a walking experiment, right? Bitcoin always has the option to fail. So make sure that you are hedged properly. Make sure you're never risking any more than you can afford to lose, right? Ripple, huge bank from Vietnam, joins RippleNet. Orient Commercial Joint Stock Bank, OCB, has revealed a new partnership with Ripple. Considered one of the most important banks in the Asian country, OCB manages around $4.6 billion in assets. Nguyen said that they have joined RippleNet and are therefore now strategic partners. The institution has more than 130 branches throughout the Asian country. Its services are focused on providing loan services to retail clients and small and medium enterprises. Nguyen said that the cooperation has materialized after 10 months of work in which multiple resources were mobilized and use cases were explored on an enterprise level. In that regard, the head of fintech of the OCB said the following: "I would like to announce that OCB officially joined RippleNet as a strategic partner. With this investment to blockchain tech, which is powered by Ripple, we target to apply new technology to business in order to cut down expenses, boost productivity, and bring transparency and the best service to customers with remittance and cross-border payments, competitive fees, and instant payments." In addition, they said that cooperation aims to offer more services and improve those already offered by the banking institution to its consumers in Vietnam. The head of fintech agreed to provide further details soon on how the cooperation will enable them to disrupt banking, financial, and insurance services. So, yet more steps forward for Ripple. We also have Ripple, Binance, and Kraken could participate in Spark airdrop. So XRP holders may have 2 new exchanges to receive the Spark token from Flare Networks via Twitter. Flare, also known as the first XRP fork, answered a user's question about new partnerships for Spark's airdrops. According to Flare's response, they are in talks with exchanges Kraken, Binance, and Binance US. However, nothing is confirmed yet, but they are in talks. So possibly, guys, we may be getting Binance and Kraken, or one or the other, or none, right? But they are in talks to them, so maybe you can get your Spark airdrop there. I think in the end, you probably will be able to. I just don't see why these exchanges aren't going to do it. I think they will. I think it's just getting there, right? And it's just going to be about, what happens after they're done being in talks with them. But if we could get it on Binance and Kraken, that would be cool, because I know there's a lot of you guys holding on Binance. I don't know how many of you guys use Kraken. Let me know if you guys use Kraken and how you like it in the comments below. But I know probably a lot of you guys are using Binance. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop it a like. Thank you guys so much for all the likes, all the comments, and all of your support. It's been absolutely amazing. I've been having a ton of fun keeping you guys updated with the videos. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified on the next one. Also, make sure to go back and watch yesterday's video. We go over, can Polkadot outperform Ethereum, and also some Cardano news. I also have a couple of other videos going over Bitcoin shortages, some talks about XRP being a global reserve currency on Infowars. You guys can go check that out. We also have what is Filecoin. So anyways, guys, go check out some of those videos. And with that said, I will see you all on the next one. Have a great day, everybody.